G'day there folks, here I am in Temora Aviation Museum, and we're looking right now at one of, I think there's only two flyable CAC, Commonwealth Air Corporation Boomerang fighters, and this is one of them. The Boomerang, as you may be aware, was based on the CAC Wirraway with, from memory, a Pratt & Whitney radial engine, developed as an emergency stopgap fighter for the RAF during World War II. Entered service, I think from memory, 1942-43. Has the somewhat dubious distinction of not actually shooting down any aircraft during World War II. However, it did provide valuable service as a Army cooperation aircraft in Southwest Pacific. Had a fairly decent rate of climb from memory. So yeah, I've seen another Boomerang at Oki, where they've got one. So that's an unglamorous World War II fighter that served with the Royal Australian Air Force. Let's go see one of the most glamorous ones. There she blows, a Supermarine Spitfire. This is a Mark 16, which, to be honest, I know very little about. The Spitty that was flown by the RAF, from memory, was usually flown in, I think it was probably the Mark II, Mark V, Mark 8 and maybe Mark 14 versions. The most famous squadrons were 457, I think, 452, 453, I think that's right. Clive Killer Caldwell flew Spitfires up in Darwin during the Japanese air raids that were flown in 42-43. And yet again, going from memory, I think it was 453, 457 and 54 Squadron RAF that flew Spitfires in the defence of Darwin. Beautiful piece of kit. Very, very nice. Now we're swinging around past the Boomerang to the Lockheed Hudson. Now it's a bit dark, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to try and get into better position so we can see what we got here. Lockheed Hudson served as in a variety of formats with the RAAF during the war, but I suppose their most important role, at least in the early phase of the Pacific War, was flying in the defence of Malaya and also in the Dutch East Indies and Papua New Guinea. I can't recall the exact details of the who, the what, the where, but there's a fantastic story about a Hudson that was flown by an Australian pilot up against the Japanese Sabaru Sakai in Malaya, I think it was. Or was it Rabaul? Either way, no, it was Rabaul, that's right. And anyway, the Hudson was piloted in such a way that Sabaru Sakai actually recommended after the war that the pilot, and look it up, I might even add it as a bloody caption while I'm talking here, and I'll put this up on YouTube. Sabaru Sakai actually recommended that the pilot be put in for effectively the Victoria Cross. Unfortunately, the poor bugger didn't get it. Anyway, Lockheed Hudson, two-engined American light bomber, patrol bomber, developed from, I think, the old Electra civilian airliner, and was further developed into the Ventura. Okay, now we're heading over to another World War II era aircraft, although this particular version and plane flew more for the RAF during the Korean War, and that's a Gloucester Meteor. Meteors flew with 77 Squadron, replacing the Mustang in a ground support and fighter role. Unfortunately, their effort as a fighter in Korea was not too glorious. They suffered reasonably badly at the hands of Chinese / possibly, I suppose, even Russian MiGs. However, there were a couple of shoot downs involving Gloucester Meteors. This here is a Commonwealth Air Corporation CAC Avon Sabre. Some people would say this is the absolute prime version or the best version of the Sabre that was built. The reason it's called an Avon Sabre is because it's got a Rolls-Royce Avon jet engine and was equipped with, from memory, with I think it was 2 Aden cannons and as you can see there, Sidewinder missiles. Flown by 76, 77, 78, 79 squadrons. Closest they ever came to combat was serving at Ubon airfield during the Vietnam War on, I think it was CETO duties. And this is in the livery of the Black Diamonds, who were one of the elite groups of Sabre formations in the RAF in the 50s, 60s. Okay, let's go and see some other aircraft.